The conference has been unlocked.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Episode, what? Is it 10? Is it episode 10? Yep. Ravens Daily episode 10. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody for coming through. We got about 27 in here. Give you a few minutes to roll on in, give you a few shout outs. Before we get started, what up, Jeremiah, Stephen FL, Coinage, Karuga Coinage, appreciate it. Jimmy Benjamin, Big Unc. See who else we got in here. Jane Doe Fridays, appreciate you for being a sponsor. Appreciate it. She says she's already starting with the comments. 50 20 and in that order. I think she's Ed Reed. I'm sorry, Ray Lewis and Ed Reed in that order. Death Moth, what's good? What's good? What's good? Roll on in. What up, Gene? What up, Hendo? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Hendo, we're gonna have to get you on one of these 4:30 shows soon. Let you take some calls with me. What you feel about that? Because you're always being here. You might as well jump on and get in here and take some calls with me one day. We need to set that up. We talk about that tonight if you down. If you down. What up, C Iron? What's good? What's good? Cool, cool, cool. That's all we need. We're gonna set it in motion. Let's look forward to Wednesday. Let's look forward to Wednesday. I don't have no topic yet. We'll have somebody in and something both of us can spill about. So let's lock it in for Wednesday. What up, Jared? What up, Will G? It's funny Will G's in here. It's funny Will G's in here. So we gonna with him saying what's up. He's saying just leaving what physical therapy. Have a happy blessed Monday. Right on time, Will. We out Jane Doe comment of the day. It's Will G. Our Jane Doe comment of the day is Will G. So now what we're going to do is I'm gonna read this off and we'll talk about it. And I don't know why it's showing that green screen stuff in the background, but we'll fix that another day. Can't fix it right now. Oh, because I know what the part that's green is what you're seeing because the green screen's behind me. But it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. We'll fix that. We'll fix that. And I know how to fix it by doing this. Watch this. Watch this. I know how to fix that. I know how to fix that by simply doing that. That's how you fix it. That's how you fix it. So, Will G's comment. He says 52 Ray Lewis. I can't describe in words, but being from the Baltimore, Maryland area, the energy that man created in a football game and the stadium was electric. With sideline to sideline speed in his prime, a true student of the game with Ed Reed watching film together after they already done practices and team film sessions going above and beyond onto where to attack and when to attack an opponent's weaknesses and to get a checkmate for the defense. When the third and fourth quarter started and you heard the words from Ray, "Now we hunt," that was the end of the opponent for that day. Um, Top football IQ with superstar athletic ability was the perfect match. If you need to be motivated to do something in life or in sports, just listen to any speech by Ray, and you'll be ready to go through a wall and find a way. So I appreciate Will G for submitting the comment of the Jane Doe comment of the day, and his name will be submitted into a raffle at the end of the month to win something from the Jane Doe list of products. So I appreciate you, Will G, for doing that. And if you want to have a chance to be a part of the Jane Doe coming of the day, when I post the topic for tomorrow or Wednesday or whatever show you happen to catch, you go to the comment section. I'm sorry, the community tab of my page, put your comment under there, and then that's how you get a chance to be featured for the Jane Doe comment of the day. So again, salute to Will G for doing that. And Will G is also a Patreon. I appreciate it. Will G has also won one of our monthly giveaways. He won a Baltimore Ravens blanket. So everybody needs to be like Will G and follow his leadership. Appreciate you, Will G. But as for me, I'm going to give you what up, AGE? I want to give you my favorite Raven. And no, it is not Ray. Sorry. It is not Ray. I know most people gonna come in here and say Ray, and they're gonna tell why, but I'm going to give you my favorite, and I'm going to tell you why. My favorite Raven. My favorite Raven. And again, the phone lines are open, so you can go ahead and call and get in line if you want to do so to talk about your favorite Raven or whatever it is you want to talk about today. My favorite Raven. Let's go through his list of accomplishments. And if you don't know who that is on the screen, that's 20 ER. Ed Reed. My guy. He was drafted by the Ravens in 2002. In 2002, he was fourth in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. He had 5 INTs. 2003, he was second team All-Pro, made the Pro Bowl, and had 7 INTs. 2004, he was the Defensive Player of the Year, made the Pro Bowl, and had 9 INTs. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. 2006, he was All Pro, made the Pro Bowl, and had 5 INTs. 2007, All Pro, Pro Bowl, 7 INTs. 2008, third in Defensive Player of the Year voting, was an All Pro, made the Pro Bowl, and had 9 interceptions again. Had 9 interceptions again. In 2009, second team All Pro, made the Pro Bowl with 3 picks. 2010, Defensive Player of the Year, he was sixth in that voting, made the All Pro team, made the Pro Bowl, had 8 INTs. In 2011, second team All Pro, made the Pro Bowl, and had 3 INTs. That's, let me see, 2005's not on there. And then his latter years after the Super Bowl is not on there. That's a boatload of INTs. And we didn't even talk about the special team stuff. We haven't even talked about the special team stuff. That's that's crazy. That is crazy. From Dexter Hand, Louisiana, a boot boy. Man, that's an awesome career right there. An awesome career. Not to mention that you see that you on his arm, which already had me a fan of him anyway. That's an awesome career for a safety. I don't think you're gonna find another safety that's gonna get numbers like that. You may not find another DB that's gonna get numbers like that. You got a 9 interception season. You got 2 7 interception seasons, 2 9 interception seasons, an 8 interception season, and then the multiple 3s and 5s sprinkled in there. Boy, that's crazy. But let's sum up his career and then we can move on and see if anybody on the phone. This is summing up his career. 11 years as a Raven. Because he finished that I think that one season with the Jets and Texans, I think. I think he split that season. But those numbers not up there. 159 games started, 64 total INTs, 7 defensive TDs, 135 PBUs, 11 forced fumbles, 2 fumbles returned for touchdowns, All Pro 9 times, 2004 Defensive Player of the Year, 9 Pro Bowls. Like Steven said, we ain't talk about kick returns and punt returns. I ain't even throw it out there. Didn't even throw it out there. Man could do it all. Could cover, could play the box, could blitz. Hell, you probably could have played him on offense. Honestly. You probably could have played him on offense. His when I think about Ed, I go back to what Peyton Manning said. Let me pull this off. I go back to what Peyton Manning said. And Peyton Manning talked about him being the guy that when you snap the ball, you had to look for. So every time they broke the huddle, instead of pointing out a linebacker or pointing out the defensive lineman or something like that, you had to find Ed. Peyton said he broke the snap, scanning the defense. Okay, where 20 at? Where 20? Where 20? And I know Ray's the favorite of a bunch of people, and I understand why. Ray got a bunch of motivational speeches. Ray was the leader of the team, vocal leader of the team. It's just something about Ed, though. Ray can get you some key tackles. He can make some key stops. But Ed flip games. Let's think about that. He got 208 pick sixes. Two, meaning he caught the ball in the back of the end zone and took it to the crib. When will you ever see that again? If you'll ever see that again. Back of the end zone, pick six, scanning, making hard hits. If you want to build a safety, if you go to Madden and you build a guy, you build an Ed Reed. You build an Ed Reed. Hit like Sean Taylor. Cover like Dion. Had the smarts of any defensive player you can think of. With it's probably not another defensive player as smart as him other than Ray. I'd be willing to go out there and say that. It's probably not another defensive player that's smarter than him other than Ray. And what I will tell you this, the Ravens did somebody wrong When they brought in, if I'm not correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Did Eric Weddle not follow Ed Reed? Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Eric Weddle not follow Ed Reed in Baltimore? Because if he did, I think they did Weddle a disservice trying to play him like Ed Reed. Because there were plays where I would see Eric Weddle in the box, and then they'd have him try to drop and cover the deep middle. Ed, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. You can't. So that being said, there's nobody on the phone on the call line. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up Ray's stats, and we can kind of see, we can kind of compare the two. We can compare the two. Now let me give me a minute. Let me get them stats pulled up, and we can compare the two. My favorite is Ed. I know most people's favorite is Ray, but let's get it up there. And probably some people out there is Jo. But normally it's a 2-horse race when it comes to these two guys. All right, we got it up there. Let's see. See if you guys can see that. All right, got Ray Lewis up here. 12-time Pro Bowl. So that's more than Ed. 7-time All Pro. I think that's more than Ed. Let's see. 7-time All Pro. Let me go to my other. Hold on. He was a 9-time All Pro. All right. Ed got him there. 2-time Super Bowl champion, because remember, Ed was not on the team. We won the first Super Bowl. Ed was okay. Appreciate you, Hendo. Appreciate you. Ed was not on the team when we won that first Super Bowl. Super Bowl MVP, Hall of Fame, 2000s Hall of Fame, meaning all 2000s team. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Well, what year did Ray win Defensive Player of the Year? Move, get this out the way. Nos puede llevar. Commercial out the way. So here go the awards over here to the side. He was drafted in 96. Ooh, I was a freshman. Freshman in college. AP Defensive Player of the Year, he was 6th in that. He made the All-Pro second team next year. All-Pro Defensive Player of the Year, he was 6th in that in 1998. All-Pro Defensive Player of the Year, he was 3rd in 99. He was a Defensive Player of the Year in 2000 and 5th in MVP. And 5th in MVP. Look at that stat line for 2000. AP, he was the 5th in MVP. He was Defensive Player of the Year. Coach, what's this? What's COP of the year? What's that? What's COP of the year? I don't know what that is. Let's see. Comeback Player of the Year. Comeback Player of the Year. Okay. Comeback Player of the Year. He was 7th. Again, the next year, Defensive Player of the Year voting, he was 3rd. Must have got hurt in 02. Don't have a lot of, you only play 5 games in 02. 03, Defensive Player of the Year again. That's the second one, because that's when I was playing. So he won it in 2000 and 2003. The accolades are crazy for Ray. Let's look at his totals. If I gotta make it a little smaller so I can see the whole thing. All right, here we go. So games for Baltimore: 227, 31 INTs, 4 touchdowns. So 3 pick sixes. Forced fumbles, 19. No fumbles returned for TDs, but I'm looking for tackles. There it is. 2,059 tackles, 99 TFLs, 40 QB hits. And if you look at 2008 on to 2012, he had to change his body, because that's when the NFL started changing. He had to, because Ray was this rocked up dude that could run, that was built for beating up Eddie George and those other big backs. But then once the game started to change to this passing game, especially that last year, he had to change his body. So he got a little smaller, but also got a little quicker too. The one constant thing that kept him from doing his thing, or that kept him doing his thing while he was with Baltimore, smarts. His smarts. The dude was extremely smart. Film study was of utmost importance to him and the people that played with him. And what I will say, what Baltimore did for Ed, they knew, I'm not for Ed, for Ray, they knew what he was good at, and they put the pieces around him to keep him doing what he's best. Because Ed, I ain't gonna say always, but in his career, he mostly had hog maulers up front that would keep him clean. Started off with Sam and Goose, ended up with Nada, and it's a couple more guys now, but those are three that always stand out to me: Goose, Sam Adams, Nada. Those three guys kept people off Ray, and Ray was able to do his thing. We do got two people on, so let's see who we got to talk about today's topic. We got Will G, our Jane Doe comment of the day. So appreciate you, Will. Go ahead and give us a little bit about who's your favorite Raven, which we kind of already know.
Yeah, it's definitely those two. I mean, just because of the front end and the back end, just the combination of just the smart, the athletic ability, the personality. I mean, Ray probably wins more in the personality point because Ed was kind of just like the silent assassin, pretty much on the field. But like I remember Belichick saying like it was one play where he was sure that they had the play set up, and Ed started on one side of the field, and by the time that the play was actually in function, he was right where the ball was going to be thrown. Just because of that extra time that him and Ray took together, pretty much they knew everything about you. Like, and I remember Peyton also saying that 90% of the time when he was going like his Omahas against the Ravens, it was really just to not even do anything. It was just to try to make Ray and Ed think that it was something coming. So it's definitely those two. I just Ray was special just with the motivation and stuff like that. In the course of my sports and IT career and stuff like that, get me through tests and just certain hurdles in life. My father's passing, and then that first Super Bowl is just like that was my guy. Ed was definitely second, and then probably I'd say Keith was probably third.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think in the post, I listed a bunch of other players. Just
you did.
The comedy guys are pretty much Goose, Shannon, and Suggs.
Yeah.
And each one of them was their outright. I think we got Shannon at the end of his career.
Mm-hmm.
He was still a pivotal part for the Super Bowl for a certain offensive plays. So that's definitely my two. And yeah, I definitely agree with you, Coach. If it ain't Ray, it's Ed.
Mm-hmm. And I think honestly, I think Jo is third. If Jay, because of what he did, with him and Ray being in that first draft, Jo held it down for a long time.
Right.
Jo was, when the little offense we did have, he was a big part of it. Not touching the ball.
Right.
So
him and Yonder are like the unsung Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that know football, they know Ogden and Yonder pretty much.
Yep.
Like they know the deeper part of the game, and like what you really need to have to be able to be an offense or a defense, to control that. Like Sam Adams and Saragusa were extremely vital to that first Super Bowl team.
What? Because
they pretty much took up the block that allowed Ray Lewis to just run sideline to sideline pretty much and chase down all those players. If you don't have somebody that can keep the guys off your linebackers, there's not too many linebackers that are going to take on, pretty much the offensive line guys and be able to move them at will to get into the right spot. And that's why I think that if Lamar plays this year, like with now Odell Beckham, and you can't double team and you can't play the box, it's gonna look nasty.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that's the key, because if you get Odell, and even if we pick somebody up in the draft and you have multiple guys that you got to defend with a too high safety, but the way we run the ball, this thing can get ugly for some people.
Yeah, with JK proved that last year. He can run with 8 and 9, 10, damn near the full damn team in the box up on the line, and press cover 0. What's gonna happen when them safeties can't provide the gap? Because if he gets in the open field, he's got the speed to break away.
Yeah, Pay the Bills just said put some respect on J. Lou name. The 2K club isn't for everyone, and he right. You are absolutely right.
Right.
Pay the Bills. I don't mean to leave him out intentionally, but as far as my greatest, it's those two guys, and I mentioned the two O linemen, but definitely can't leave out Jermaine Lewis. If not for injuries, it's
Mm,
we might be speaking
that's a
about him
good
as an
one.
all timer.
That's
That
a
that
good one.
that 2,000 yard season was special. It really was. It was, and it wasn't 2,000 yards where he was like breaking a whole bunch of long runs. That's 2,000 grinded out yards, and then he get them long runs
What,
in the
what,
third, fourth quarter.
what was it? What was it against the Browns? Was it 290 or was it the Bengals? I think it was the Browns, wasn't it? It was like 290 yards or something like that.
I don't remember who it was who it was against. I remember seeing it and realizing, oh my God, this dude that big shouldn't be that fast.
Because that was the year he was going after what was it? Dickerson,
Dickerson, yep.
I think it was.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dickerson. Right?
Hendo said it
Like
was 295 versus the Browns.
yeah,
295 versus the
295. Man,
Browns.
I remember watching that game. It was just like he ran pretty much like a locomotive. Pretty much, he hit every hole. It was a beautiful game to watch. I remember. Like he's definitely him and Ray Rice probably the running backs, and like I said, this year I'm giving it J.K. Dobbins just for what he did last year. Because if that man was not even fully healthy running like that, I can't imagine if I can envision like the offense that we're gonna have and the breakdown that you did of Monken's offense. Like I'm excited, coach.
Right. And I'm gonna get more into it once the draft over with. That was cool. That was like a something to get out so people could see. But I'm gonna dive deeper into it once the draft over with. I'm just trying to work on these prospects. But we got less than 2 weeks for that. And so, after the draft, I'll like the month of May, I'll be looking at what Monken did and how it can fit with the guys that we have, especially with whoever we pick up in the draft.
Gosh, I've been doing a lot of physical therapy and contract searching for the cybersecurity stuff right now. I just got an email about football link. Is that still good
Email
for the
about
fantasy football for your
yes,
thing?
yes, yes. That's still
Okay,
good. Yes.
I'll sign up for that tonight. Then.
Yeah, appreciate it. And so, and I'm gonna let Will go, but since he mentioned fantasy football, what it is if you join the Patreon, which is Sip the Tally, patreon.com/Sip the Tally, you get an invite to my fantasy football league, and you get a chance to join you get a chance to win the Cuban-like link that I'll be wearing tonight on the round table. So make sure if you want a chance to dethrone the king because Hendo is not winning, and I'm not like Hendo. I didn't buy my gifts for myself and act like I won something. I'm gonna actually win mine. So don't be like Hendo.
They bless, coach.
So I appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Yep.
Next up. You got my man Steven. What's good, Steven? How are you today?
I'm doing good, sir. How's it going, Coach? How's it going, chat?
It's going well for me. Going well for me. Question. Your favorite Raven and why?
Jonathan Ogden.
Okay, tell us why.
Jonathan Ogden is the greatest Raven that's played in the history. I never saw the man get beat ever. And Jamal Lewis behind the left side of that Ravens line was responsible for everything. Jonathan Ogden's best Raven to ever play, in my personal opinion. What do you think, Coach?
He's in my top 3. I don't think he's better than Ray or Ed, but he's by far the best lineman that has had a Ravens jersey on. I don't think he's better than Ed or Ray, but he's by far the best lineman that I think has.
I think he's one of the best left tackles in history.
I can agree with that too. That's not a far-fetched statement. That is not a far-fetched statement. The way he used to cave the line down on power plays and counter, and then it was even good on because we didn't have a lot of inside and outside zone. Then we had a lot of ISO stuff, and he would just take his defensive end and basically take him to the sideline. They would get a couple water together, then he'd walk them back out there, and they do it again. And then he just covered smaller, quicker defensive ends. He just covered them up. And they like.
I was
they
watching. I'm looking at the stats for Jamal Lewis when Ogden was there. 1,364 total yards his first year, and then he lost his second season, remember, to a knee injury.
Mm-hmm.
He got his knee hurt. Came back 1,327, 2,066 yards from the line of scrimmage in 2003, 1,900, then back to 1,132 yards, 1,300 yards, 1,000 yards. And then when he left the Ravens in 2009, it was 500.
Mm-mm.
The man was a beast.
He was. He definitely was. He is what he's the. Can you think of he's the prototypical lineman? Like Big Unc said, if that's his size, he's what 6'9", 345, and with sweet bare feet. That's a man that size with feet that good gonna obviously be strong. But if he got the feet, the technique to post, and then to do all that stuff, it's a special individual. Everybody with size like that shouldn't make a move that fast. But when you do, he maximized his. And like Malik just said, it ain't far fetched. And you said it too, for him to be the greatest offensive lineman of all time. That's a statement that you could argue. That's a statement that you could argue.
We have extremely high standards in Baltimore,
mm-hmm.
and it's difficult, and that's one of the things I was thinking about, like Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Jonathan Ogden, Jamal Lewis, all these other Trent Dilger or Dilfer or whatever,
mm-hmm.
like, all these different players. But to me, Jonathan Ogden, he was our first pick. He set the cornerstone for the franchise.
He did. Agreed. He did. He was when they picked him first, they let it be known what kind of franchise this was going to be. This was going to be because they could have went skill guy, but they set the tone from the jump. And I think Hendo mentioned this when he was talking to Flock Nation yesterday. The Ravens kind of looked at the Steelers and was like, okay, that's the blueprint to win. So we're going to start in the trenches, run the ball and play defense. And by picking J.O., it lets you know, hey, we're going to run the ball. Then they come back and get get Ray in that same draft. Okay, we're going to play defense. So they set the cornerstone. And crazy part is we probably even changed that mindset 20 some odd years later. Probably that's still that same mindset, but the NFL has changed. I don't think we just changed.
That's the mindset that we're caught in as Ravens fans. So we believe in defense. We and knocking somebody's D in the dirt. You know what I mean? That's what we believe.
That's
you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm not changing from that. And if they want to change it, fine. I'll quit watching. But I believe, like I say, we got a good squad,
mm-hmm.
and we're going to make it happen at QB, regardless of whatever. And we're going to win games, and we're just going to see what happens.
Yep, that's why I'm at with it. We going, because we gonna have a QB, and we got a good enough defense to get you 8 wins. Some kind of way, you got a good enough defense to get you 8 wins. Got a good enough running game to get you 8 wins. But you add the QB in, and that could go from 8 to 15. And
yep.
And give you some depth. Not give you deep runs or maybe even a Super Bowl. So I ain't
just have to believe that EDC and all the rest of them know what they're doing. We just got to believe that they're smart enough businessmen where they can get something done one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna talk more about that
but
tomorrow.
Either way, we got a good squad. I don't care.
Yeah, I
you know
agree.
what I mean. I'm a Ravens fan all the way, and I don't care what quarterback we got. We've got good running backs. We've got a good team on offense and defense. We're going to make some noise.
Yep.
Whether they like it or not.
Yep. I agree. I appreciate you, Stephen, for calling.
Coach,
for coming through.
I appreciate you giving me some time. I'm gonna get off of here and listen to your comments.
I appreciate it. Always good to have you calling through. Next up. Where is it? I'm trying to find. There it is. Jeremiah. What's good, buddy?
Jeremiah. Hey, man, how's it going?
I'm good. Who's your favorite Raven?
On the daily.
Who's your favorite Raven?
Love the topic. Well, my favorite Raven is actually the Darth Sizzle, Terrell Suggs.
Okay.
He's not the best Raven. We've already established there's 3 probably the greatest of all time in the positions at left tackle, free safety, and middle linebacker in the history. But as far as favorite Raven, Darth Sizzle was just off the chain. He was so funny, so good, but so funny, so just such a character. And one of my favorite moments was when Mike Carey threw a flag on my guy because he looked at him with malice in the heart. Like he literally, that was his explanation for just taking a step towards him with that look on his face, which you really wouldn't really probably want to be on the other side of. And I love the versatility, the all around game. Just every bit of it, it's just the Big Ben comment, just every bit of his career was just a joy to watch.
You know what I love about Sizzle? That face mask.
Yeah.
That crazy face mask he had.
Yeah.
I love that about.
Mask.
Yes, that was my favorite. Well, not my favorite moment, but I liked when he played in that. It was like he was the villain, and he embodied being the villain. He embraced being the villain, especially to Big Ben.
Yeah, and the whole, like, I embrace it as a fan, like never getting the calls, never getting the respect, always getting the national narrative, like being the bad guy, like Sizzle, and really he embraced it and kind of made me kind of embrace it as a fan instead of getting all frustrated, at the TV because we couldn't get a flag against the Patriots, stuff like that. But one other thing about J.O., like he's definitely, like he's the reason why I quit playing football the day I did. Like he was a rookie. I was a freshman in college. I was thinking about playing ball and everything. I was a really good prospect. I'm huge. I'm like 6'5". I walked past the dude on the street on Memorial. He's walking up on the stadium, on Memorial Stadium, not Memorial, but downtown. And he looks like he's 7 feet tall and like about 400 pounds. I mean, it was just like, it wasn't just the fact that he was big and I was literally in his shadow. Like it was the fact that he was just walking and skipping right on his toes, like just moving down the street like like a dancing bear or something.
Mm-hmm.
Just crazy. I was like, if that's what's on the other side of the journey, forget about it. I don't want that. I don't want none of those problems.
He, to be that size and to have feet that good, that don't go to. That's an oxymoron to be 6'9", 350-ish, and can move like Tyreek Hill, not the speed wise, but laterally. Yeah. That's nuts.
The agility, yeah. I mean, I heard somebody could say he could block drinking a cup of coffee without spilling a sip. Like he doesn't need all the tools he's got in his bag to just defeat you. Like his game is like a lot like Trent Williams, but he's like way bigger.
Right.
Like, it's just crazy.
And Trent's got good
like
feet
the best
too.
left tackle of all time, it might not have been like, no, you need to stop playing football. But the fact that he was a rookie being that big, I was like, no. That's just not plausible.
Yeah, his athletic ability was second to none to be a lineman. Like mentioned earlier, he could be in that argument for greatest offensive tackle of all time. That you can make a strong argument for that, and not you probably shouldn't offend anybody for saying it because he was that good.
Yeah, I think when you look back historically at PFF stats and stuff like that, I mean, I really only think he gave up like a handful of sacks in his whole career. Like it is really crazy.
I think somebody put in the chat box that the only person to beat him twice was Dwight Freeney. The only person to beat him for a sack twice was Freeney.
Yeah, with that crazy whirling dervish Tasmanian Devil movie he had, which would have got anybody twice, But one other guy that needs a shout out here is Haloti Ngata. Like he deserves the Hall of Fame candidacy. That dude was also just another level of human being.
Mm-hmm.
Like to be 350 pounds and moving like that, keeping all the bodies off of Ray Lewis and all that. It's kind of an unglorified position, but nobody really did it better as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's only a few human beings that's ever walked the earth like Haloti Ngata.
Right, another athletic freak.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of the Ravens' history. It's like they got a lot of dudes that are kind of underrated because the whole history of the franchise is a little bit villainous, a little bit, how his narratives have been all off. It's like, and another thing too, everybody would have been I think all over celebrating OBJ at that same contract that he landed in New York. But all of a sudden he goes to the Ravens, it's like, oh, he's chasing the bag. Oh, you don't want to win, And they're doing that.
When you look at the list of receivers next to what Odell makes, you a lot of people will be quiet. When you put all the highest contracts, receiver contracts in a line, and he's like 15th, 16th, people will chill out. People will chill out.
Yeah.
They'll chill
Yeah,
out.
no, it was actually, I counted 12 where I did a little research on it. And it's a 1 year deal. So I don't care when it was. It's a 1 year deal. You know, if it was $20 million, it still would have been reasonable.
Right. I appreciate you, Jeremiah. We got 4 more behind you, so
Coach.
I'm going to get to them. And thank you for calling in again.
Excellent. Look forward to hearing it. All right, I'll catch you later.
All right. So
The conference has been locked.
Next up. My very first caller to the call-in show is back in the building. The very first caller on the Ravens Daily Show is back in the building. What's up, DeMar?
Hey, Coach, let me tell you something, bro. If I ain't the first or the second, I ain't doing this no more. God damn, that weight is crazy.
So I'm gonna tell you. So what I
man?
do is, before I even start the show, I open the phone. So what a lot of people do is they'll wait till I throw the number up there, but the phone line be already open. And even when I'm doing the little countdown, the number scrolling across the countdown. But go ahead.
Less, man. I'm not doing that weight no more. Jesus. Hey, but look, no. Hey, my favorite. I got 2 of them. I got 2. Ed is obviously one, but the other one's gonna throw you for a loop, man. Jermaine Lewis. I don't know what it was with me growing up, but I had this weird infatuation with like punt returners and kick returners. And that man just was like, he was just a demon to me.
Yeah.
And you know, we didn't have the Sunday ticket and nothing back then. So you know, the only time I got to see him was in the Super Bowl. And he cribbed one for me. So you know,
you sure did.
So, So you know, he near and dear to my heart. But those are my 2 favorite Ravens, though.
So you kind of like what's the, and I know this is not about the Ravens. You have what's the dude that played for Kansas City for so long? He used to throw up the X.
Oh, you talking about Dante Hall? Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was a fan of him too.
Hall was a beast. Hall was a beast.
Yeah, all the kick returners. I used to watch the highlights, all that, bro. I used to do Dante Hall, Devin Hester, Josh Cruz, Jermaine Lewis, Desmond Howard. I used to rock with all of them.
And the thing is, even though they probably weren't the best receivers, they were the best athletes.
Ain't that weird though?
Because you got to be extremely crazy to be a good kick returner. But then it's funny how you can return kicks, which is the hardest thing to catch is a punt, but you can't catch the football. How crazy?
No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
So, yeah, but what you as far as Jermaine Lewis, and no, out of Ray, which one you say, Ray or Ed is your other favorite?
Ed.
Why?
I don't know, man. Because look, this is the thing. When I grew up, like I was just in the Madden heavy. So it was crazy. Like I think it was Madden. You know, Madden used to come out before the season.
Right.
So I think it was Madden 03. Yeah, I think it was Madden 03. I had started a franchise, right? And then like Ed Reed he was like making all pros, and I'm like, who is this dude? Like, you know what I'm saying? So like that's how he caught my attention. So like, you know, so once we started watching games and stuff, this dude was snagging picks, cribbing them. I'm like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying, man? When I was in high school, man, I used to run around. It was the game against the Eagles when he cribbed the 107 joint. I was running around that joint, flapping like I'm Ray. Like, you know what I'm saying? He just had that impact on the game. You know, Ray used to talk his mess, but hey, Ed was putting up points. Then he lateraling the ball.
Right.
Like, hey, Ray. When Ed got the ball in his hands, it was offense time. It was time to go.
I'm gonna tell you a play you probably never even seen before, but if you get a chance, go look it up. And you may have seen it. Ed Reed's at the University of Miami, and most people know I'm a Miami fan. They're playing Boston College, and it's a tough game. They should be beating the crap out of Boston College, but they are not. It is a tough game. If I'm not mistaken, they may be either tied or down in the fourth quarter. Boston College is driving there right around their 30-ish yard line. They throw a pass, it's completed. No, it's intercepted at about the 15 or 20. The guy's returning there. He gets about 5 or 10 yards, and they're about to tackle him. Ed takes the ball from him. Like, he ain't pitch it.
Yeah,
Edwin took it from him and cribbed that thing, and Miami won the game.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Look, I don't watch all his highlights, bro. That play is on there. He took the ball out the man. I think they was like at their own 20.
Yeah, they was deep. Like they was deep on their side of the field. Took it and went to the crib.
Bro. Like, I don't know, Ed's just, man. And then when, like, you know, as I got older and started learning nuances of the games, I'm hearing like Tom Brady and Peyton, they scared of him and stuff. I'm like, yo, like this man he just impacted the game before he even stepped on the field, bro. Like,
Yep. And he just had a good partner. He just happened to, like you said, we potentially could have somebody put in the chat box. We potentially could have 3 or 4 GOATs, like NFL of all time. When you look at Ogden, you look at Ed, and you look at Ray.
Yep.
Them 3 guys could be like 3 of NFL all time guys that can play for the Ravens. And I don't think there's a lot of organizations that can say that, to say the Ravens only been an organization technically since '96. Technically.
Look, Coach, man, I used to get in so many arguments with Steelers fans, Redskins fans, Colts fans, Eagles fans, about their safeties. I'm like, bro, it's only one, bro. It's one-on-one. Like, y'all can have the BDs. That's cool. Troy, he did his thing, Bob Sanders, he was made of glass. I don't want it. But it's only one Ed Reed, bro.
Right.
It's only one.
And the only person, and I'm gonna leave you with this one. The only person that came close,
you, bro, you a legend.
Only person that would have been close to Ed, and he got, his got killed earlier, was Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor, the only person that would have even been close to Ed. Because Sean Taylor was a way better athlete. I don't think he was as smart football wise as Ed, but he was bigger, faster, stronger, and he just would impose his will, whether he was in a box or at free. He, RP Sean Taylor.
Coach,
Sean Taylor would have been one of the goats too.
Because of Sean Taylor, the Pro Bowl is the way it is now, bro.
Mm-hmm.
When he stick that punter, they say, "Hey, yo, it's over."
Yep. Yeah. I appreciate you.
I'm rocking with Sean Taylor, man. I love that, man. But yeah, I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna let you finish your show.
I appreciate it. Appreciate you for calling through. And again, if you don't know, DeMar is the very first caller to Ravens Daily. And every time he come, I'm gonna let it be known, because I appreciate him for calling through, because I was nervous as crap that phone wouldn't ring at all.
I bet it put you at ease when I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna come through, bro. Don't worry about it."
It did. I appreciate it again. Appreciate it. We got 3 more.
But all right, brother. I'll let you, man.
We got 3 more. We're gonna round this thing on out. Let's see which order they came in. They came in this order. All right. So this one was first. We got 2 more after this one. Okay, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, coaches? This is John Quest from Jersey.
What up? What's good with you?
Everything's good. So like, I'm kind of young, so I'm still in my 20s. So I really became like a Ravens fan around, I believe, the 06 season.
Okay.
So I got to saw Ray almost towards the back end, like, of his prime. So my top 5 Ravens, I would say, is definitely Ray, because yeah, Ed was, more talented, I would say, but Ray was the leading general of the team. So I don't think Ed could have filled in those shoes in that aspect. But I feel like they're like neck and neck for us, like the greats.
Okay.
Behind them, I would say everybody gonna say Jonathan Ogden, but I'm gonna say Marshall Yonder, only because he was more versatile. Yonder played tackle, played guard, and Yonder played left tackle as well when like he had to. So yeah, J.O. held it down on the left side, but I don't think he was more versatile than what Yonder was.
Mm-hmm.
Behind Yonder, that's 3. So number 4 would be Ray Rice.
Okay.
For the short stint he was here, Jamal Lewis was cool. He was like an all-purpose back, but he wasn't in the passing game like that, like Ray Rice was. Ray Rice was, when you needed it, he gave it to you. Man, it was sad for the situation that happened with him, but I feel like in my time watching the Ravens play, I think Ray Rice was like one of the best backs that we had. And number 5, I'm gonna say Lamar. His career is not done yet, but I feel like what he did for us during that 2018 season, he changed our season within a step of a finger. Like, John was on his way out.
Yep.
If Lamar didn't do what he did, Lamar would have been gone. John would have been gone.
He changed the trajectory of the program, because we were headed down fast.
Facts. And I'm gonna give unsung hero a lot of people don't know who this player is, but I know who he is. Kelly Gregg.
Mm.
He was a nose tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember because this is like the first time I actually started watching like Sports Center and stuff. I remember they gave him a big contract extension 1 year. He was alongside with him and Haloti knocked it. Those were the two linemen that helped out Ray because before it was Sam and Goose. But Kelly Gregg and Haloti knocked that was in the 1 and 3 gap. Nobody was beating him. Like Kelly Gregg held it down.
The conference has been unlocked.
So he's only like 6 foot, but he held it down for a long time.
Yeah, those 4 guys, Sam, Goose, Kelly Gregg, Nada, those were the guys that, not saying they made Ed, but Ray, but they helped him be who he was. They allowed him to they took up blockers so Ray could shoot gaps and play instinctive.
Exactly.
So they did what was needed to be done to allow Ray to do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
The conference has been locked.
And like, as far as Haloti knocked, I felt like aside from Dominic and Sue, and now I would say Aaron Donald, nobody was better at the interior than him.
Oh no!
I mean, his athletic ability to drop in coverage, he chased down quarterbacks, running backs towards the sideline.
Yeah,
like I've never seen a.
Nada's the one that hurt. If I'm not mistaken, Nada's the one that originally hurt RG3.
You're right.
If I'm not mistaken.
You're right.
He originally folded that knee backwards.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. I just feel like Nocta was like, I don't know, something different about him. Like, he could never be blocked. I mean, he had his he had this, I think he had a knee injury before that kind of slowed him down. But prior to that injury, like, nobody was being him, bro. Like we had some good times on defense, but as far as now, I just wish we could revert that same energy on defense to the offense, and then maybe we can have a different conversation.
I think it's headed that way. Quez, I appreciate you. I got 2 more behind you. I know they've been waiting on hold for a minute. I appreciate you for waiting for your turn to come through too. It's always good talking to you, and hopefully we'll get back with you tomorrow or Wednesday or maybe even next week. But I appreciate you calling in and being a loyal listener and caller to the show. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you, and no problem, Coach.
All right, have a good one.
All right, well, you too.
Next up. Come on with it.
Marzell Green.
Come on
Raven
with
Nation in
it. Come with it. Who's your favorite Raven?
My favorite Raven of all time, without a doubt, no question, Mr. Ed Reed himself, man.
Tell us why.
Where do I start? All my life, I've been a football player, and I always wore number 20 as a tailback. It started out with Barry Sanders, but I grew into a Miami Hurricane fan, and Ed Reed was my very first favorite college player. So the night that the Ravens drafted Ed Reed, I went from being a Tampa Bay Bucks fan because Mike Allstott is from my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
And like the night we drafted Ed, I became a diehard Ravens fan. So just the plays that he made, the unorthodox ways that he would find the football and turn defense into offense, 105, 107, 109 interception yard returns. He was very underrated as a hitter and a come down in the box run supporter. His leadership skills in the locker room, his presence in the media. He was just a no-nonsense type of guy that I could really relate to. And then after his playing career was over, when the pandemic hit, he would go on Instagram Live and host these DJ parties, and he allowed people to really have access to him in a way that no other pro athlete really did during that time. So just the quality of plays that he made, his reliability to always be out there and be a presence on the field, the fear he put in the quarterbacks and offensive coordinators' hearts. Ed just symbolized everything it meant to be a Raven and play like a Raven to me. So he's more than a football player. He's a true inspiration to my life. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you on that. I feel you. My thing is, and this is not necessarily has to do with what we're talking about, but and I know you know because Ed's a big part of your life, which you just stated. How do you feel about what happened to Ed recently?
Yeah, I think he got a raw deal for just being the stand-up guy that he is. A small part of me feel like he could have handled it a little better in the public eye, but if you know Ed, he ain't gonna bite his tongue for nobody. He gonna stand on his principle. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's like I wish it would have worked out different for him, but at the same time, Ed is gonna be Ed. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna bite his tongue. He's not gonna shy away from no conflict or altercation. So, it's a tough deal, but that black man stood on what he believed in, and we can't knock him for that because we need more people like that. You know what I mean? Especially when they out here in the public eye going to work for these children.
Yep.
So I don't knock him at all. I just kind of wish he'd have thought before he lashed out as vividly as he did. But at the same time, you can't ask someone to be anything other than who they are.
Right.
That man stood on his principle and what he believed in. So I'm with him. You know what I'm saying? I talk to him a lot on Instagram, and I go on his Instagram live, and I always get a shout out. So it's always love with me. I'm always gonna support that man.
And the thing is, even though he's not there, I think his actions, be it they were kind of, I don't know if extreme is the right word, but whatever the right word is, they're changing for the better because of that 1 month period Ed Reed was their coach. Even though, and Ed may not get another chance to coach again, but that institution is going to be better in the long run because of Ed calling them out. And now people that are in charge of finances and whatnot will have to answer to somebody. And because he stood on his principles, kind of like somebody else that's standing on their principles that wears purple and black now, that he made it better. And he to me, he let it be known that he took that solely for the kids. He was trying to improve the quality of football for the kids because he could have pretty much went anywhere.
He could have went anywhere.
Pretty much went anywhere.
He made himself a sacrificial lamb for a bigger cause. Did he know that he was gonna get the backlash and ultimately lose his job behind it? Maybe not. But he was convicted in his heart that he was doing the right thing, and enough of us don't do that. I lost a job for standing up for kids as a high school security guard and football coach, and it was much like the way Ed did. I went against the big wigs of the school and the directors and stuff, and I spoke up for kids that I felt like were being mistreated, and they fired me because of it. And I truly relate to what Ed did, man. And just like Lamar, you know what I'm saying, he's standing on what he believes in, and he's gonna get backlash for it. But when a man stands on something he believes in his heart, you can't really knock him for that, whether it's right or wrong or indifferent. So Ed is truly a people's person and a people's champion in our eye. Whether you're in Baltimore or, like, I'm from Illinois, but I live in Arizona. Like, he's a champion of the people. We need more people like that.
Yep.
Especially us black athletes and black families and black men and black kids. Like, we need that. So I'm always in that brother corner, man.
Yep. And he can always have a fan of me too, because he's one of my favorite players of all time. Even if it wasn't in a Ravens jersey, he's just different. He's just different.
Yeah. No one prepared like that guy. The hours of film study and preparation. It's the reason Peyton Manning and Tom Brady say they feared that man and had to find him before every snap.
Yep.
So you can take that how you want, but ain't nobody messing with that boy, Ed, man. Ronnie Lott. I personally got Sean Taylor second safety all time behind Ed, but it ain't nobody messing with number 20, man.
Gotcha. I appreciate you, Mr. Green. And we got one more call, and I'm gonna round this thing on out. And that was a great call. So whenever we got topics, you get a chance to call in. I know you're a little bit behind us being in Arizona, but I appreciate you for coming through, though.
Man, I wouldn't dare miss an opportunity. Y'all love, Coach. I don't miss a video of yours. Thank you for keeping Raven Nation in the loop with everything, bro. You're the best at what you do.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And last but not least, I think we got some great Ed Reed stories coming.
Chief from Hawaii.
From Hawaii. Okay. And I visited Hawaii last summer. Beautiful place. Wish I could go back, but that's a long flight for me. Who's your favorite Raven? Ed, Ray, or somebody else?
Ed Reed, no doubt. I mean, it's easy for me. I mean, the average fan, they looked at Ray, they looked at his leadership, they looked at his dance. I mean, his dance before he came on the field. But I mean, Ed Reed, when you look at the X's and O's, like how Coach looks at the X's and O's, I mean, it's simple. He affected the game more than Ray. I mean, he was more well-rounded. You could go back in time and watch him against the run. but they still had to throw the ball eventually, especially on third down. And Ed would have definitely, he would have affected the game back then. But I want to go in on two more things why I think Ed is better than Ray. But let me ask you something I'm curious about.
Okay.
So where do you think Lamar ranks so far? As you think he's top 5, top 10? Just off the top of your head.
Raven?
No, Lamar.
You talking about as top 5 or top 10 Raven?
Yes.
I don't think he's top 5 yet. I think you look at Ray.
I'm just saying culturally how he affects the Baltimore Ravens history. Culturally, like
3 then.
He shook up the culture.
He might be 2. He might be 2 behind Radiant. If we're looking at that, because like somebody mentioned earlier, we were headed in this decline, and they just put him in because Joe got hurt, and I don't think they really thought they was gonna have the success they had. We went from a team that was okay, Joe hurt, we just gonna play this on out, see what we got in this rookie, to boom, we in the playoffs. And granted, we didn't win the game, and he played like of that little 6 or 7 game stretch. The playoff game was his worst one, but we weren't in line to be in the playoffs. That boy, mean boy in a native way, but he jumped in there, and I think he only lost 1 regular season game. We went like 6-1 or 5-1 or something like that. So he changed the course of the organization.
And that's what the average NFL fan, they don't want to acknowledge, because listen, we know the front office, we know they have, brain farts, we know how stupid they can be sometimes, but this man changed our organization. We are stupid sometimes, but we not that stupid that we just let this man go. You know how many people would jump ship? I mean, it's impossible to think that we're silly, but I don't think we're that stupid that we would let this man go. I know this is about Ed.
That's fine. It's fine. Go ahead. Keep cooking.
But man, he changed our coach. He's changing the NFL. You can't let. I know Bisciotti know, but I think Bisciotti's going. He's going to bite his fingernails and he's going to go down to the draft. But you saw what they did with Jalen.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't afford to let him go. Now they try to make it seem like our MVP don't mean nothing, just like they tried to make it seem like his Heisman didn't mean nothing when he won it back in college.
Should have won too.
Anybody who knows the NFL, anybody who watches the X and O's like you watch them, they know you're not that stupid, because just let this man go to another team and win 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls and see if Bisciotti don't sell the team. His butt is on the line too. So all these ESPN and I'll listen to guys like you. I'll listen to guys like Bots. I'll listen to guys that that actually watch the game and dissect it. And I hear what they have to say. But all those other people, they're entertainers. They're not journalists. They're not analysts. But this is Ed's time, so I want to keep it about Ed. I just want to know where if you thought he was on a Mount Rushmore so far after 5 years. I mean,
yeah, that's
unanimous MVP. I mean, that got to mean something.
It does. But again, as far as culturally and to the organization, he might be number 2. But as far as his play on the field, yet I wouldn't put him in that top 5 yet. But he pushing it. He really pushing it.
Right. And like I was saying, I mean, obviously, I think the majority of people know that, or they think that Ray, he was the face of our organization. But as far as X's and O's effect on the field, I just feel like Ed, he could have played at any time. And when you go back to watch that top 100 and you see Belichick and you hear Brady talk about Ed and you hear Prime talk about Ed and his effect on the field, even Ronnie, he said himself that Ronnie Lott said that he was the number 1 safety. That's what Ronnie Lott said. And anybody that watches, NFL Classic, they'll tell you that Ronnie Lott was a man unquestionable. Yeah. And Ronnie Lott himself said that, he was the number 1 safety. So I feel like any time that you're the number 1 at your position, you only one human being. You can only play one position. I feel like anytime you're the number 1 at your position, you deserve to be in the conversation as, the best player.
Yep.
Period. So I feel like it's Ed and Ray. You can 1 or 2. I'm not gonna argue about that because I'll start watching the game because of Ray. I thought he was a superhero. But I mean, Reed was just more well-rounded. His leadership was he don't give enough credit for his leadership on that back end. And the last thing is Rex Ryan, man. He said that he thought the 2006 defense was better than the 2000 defense, but unfortunately they didn't have the accolades. You know, they didn't hoist a Super Bowl. But man, though they got after that quarterback, they had the most quarterback hits, the sacks. They had 40 takeaways. Man, that defense they wouldn't have been able to do all that if Ed wasn't playing center field back there. You know, Prime he sealed off half of the field, but Ed, anything past the 25-yard line, man, you're not doing it.
Yep.
You're not doing it. Ed is not the centerpiece of that backfield back there. So, yeah, man. Don't get me wrong. We all know Ray is Ray.
right.
Ed, man, Ed, anything past that 10-yard line and back there, you go 10 yards back, that's all Ed. You go anything before that, that's Ray.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ray's gonna tell the line what to do, but Ed, he's gonna tell the defensive backs what to do.
Yep.
And it's not just him. Samari Rowe, Chris McAllister, Landry, they all got like 4 or 5 interceptions too. So he's definitely in their ear.
Mm-hmm.
And his leadership is just, you know, they don't give him enough credit. And the last thing is, when it was time for Ed to get his contract, I think John Harbaugh did him dirty, man. I think the organization did him dirty. All he wanted was $5 million. He got $5 million from the Texans.
Yep.
You know what I mean? he still at least had another year.
So that just lets you know that this organization ain't just start playing hardball.
Yeah,
they've been doing it.
Yeah, but we got scared after that Ray Rice stuff, and we got a spotlight on us. We got scared when we start drafting. We used to go after those. You know, maybe you were injury prone. You know, but you a great player. Maybe you had a little criminal history. Maybe you weren't raised in the best place. We start getting like all these squares. No disrespect to the squares out there. Everybody got to live their life. Everybody got their own culture.
Mm-hmm.
But we start chasing these. We start playing it safe. We start getting Ronnie a great player. But you look at that boy out there that plays for the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Plays for the Texans now. That got that smoke video.
Tonsil.
You know. Yeah, man, come on. He was a better player. He's still a better player. And he was healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we got scared somewhere along the way with that Ray Rice situation, and we not drafting how we supposed to be drafting. But anyways, back to Ed, man. He deserved a chance to lead this team. He wanted to come back. He was a Hall of Famer. He was probably the third most important person in our history besides Alton and Ray. And there's a part of my heart that it just broke to see him in another uniform, man.
Yeah, I ain't like that.
Even though he went to Rex team, you know, always gotta have love for Rex. And to see the Ravens go against Ed Reed, man, I didn't know who I wanted to win. Man. That was the first time that ever happened. And I know Lamar's not going nowhere. I know there's doubters out there. I knew he wasn't going nowhere before they signed OBJ. I don't think we're that stupid. I don't think that's our culture. I know, and anybody can say, "Oh, let's get Stetson Bennett or let's get whoever in the draft." You crazy? To even entertain that this man might be leaving, we might be in another dimension.
Right.
That's not the Baltimore Ravens. We're stupid enough to stick to the running game and the passing game era, yes, but we're not stupid enough to let the future of our fan base. He represents our fan base, our players too, but our fan base. It's people that's not even Ravens fans that watch our games because they want to see this man.
Yep.
We're just not that stupid. So, I'm gonna let somebody else go. Hey, Coach, you live in? I used to live in Maryland. You live in Maryland?
Nah, I don't. Live in Florida.
All y'all Florida boys, love the Ravens boys. You got Engraven, he in Florida. You got the big kid, the Wonderkin, he in Florida. I don't know what's going on, but shout out to y'all and thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate it. That's a great call to end this one on. Great call. But I will say this, and then I'm gonna round it up myself. We have the roundtable tonight at 9:30 with myself, OTR Mike, Chris Just Joking, Lunch Break Hot Take Crew with Jose and Brodney, and Hendo. And Hendo's probably gonna like this last comment as I close. They mentioned Ed changing the game or affecting the game with what he did on the back end. And I don't think there's but one other person to affect the NFL game more than Ed Reed did. And that's Prime. Peace. Thank y'all. Hey, I'm back. If you're watching on the replay and you made it this far, put your top, and even if you're in the chat box right now, go to the comment section. Don't put it in the chat box. Go to the comment section. Put your top 5 Ravens in the comment section. I want to see what everybody got. Put your top 5 Ravens in the comment section, not the chat box, in the comment section. And if you're watching the replay, follow script. Now we gone. Peace and love.